Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we'll make a custom metal cottage sign. The material of this cottage sign is actually just 12 gauge mild steel. Where you get the black from is actually just spray painted enamel paint. And you can see it produces a wonderful shine. It's not necessary if you're doing cottage signs, but it just looks kind of cool. Now, something I often get customers asking me is about screw holes actually, when it comes to making these kind of things. And what I generally tell them, and what I do as well, is if you have a sign that's full of holes like this here, just use any of those holes to put a screw in. It just works perfectly. Alternatively, you can have like one screw here, and one just over here, and that'll hold the sign properly as well. So there's lots of options. So when it comes to making these kind of signs, we can generally make them out of any thickness, any size, any sort of material you want. So if it's for indoor use, we can make it out of wood, outside exterior. We can make it as mild steel like this, or we can make it actually out of stainless steel. The reason you don't want to go to stainless steel, unless you really want to, but stainless steel is you like the stainless steel look. Now, if you don't care about the look, go with mild steel. It's a lot more cost effective, and it looks identical. I'd argue the strength is about the same as well. So let's take a look at the plasma cutter behind me, cutting out this custom sign. When it comes to plasma cutting, people are surprised that you can actually get really tight designs out of it, cut out. The kerf or the cut area is very, very small. It's generally less than a 1/16 on 12 gauge or roughly 3 millimeters or 1/8 inch metal. In this case here, hot rolled. And with laser, you have a smaller kerf, so it's even smaller. And therefore you have a lot less heat put into the material, so material warping is less of an issue. It's still there, but it's just a lot less. Now with water jet cutting, of course, it's a cold cutting process, so you don't have to worry about heat affected zones at all. A way around that actually with plasma cutters is you notice that a lot of them have a water table. Now I didn't opt for that, and the reason for that is the advantages of water are actually disadvantages in my mind. The biggest disadvantage, you end up with a toxic brew of just water that just sits there and stagnates and goes bad on you. It's full of really nasty stuff and you got to get rid of it somehow. While with air, you never get anything wet, so you don't have to worry about rusting. And yes, you have some smoke, which is what the water table sort of absorbs, but I prefer to have the smoke go outside than to have a nice big water thing, a pool of water in the shop that just sits there and just reeks. So when it comes to plasma cutting, it doesn't really matter if it's plasma, water jet, laser, or even router by extension. You always do the inside parts first, and then you do the outside parts. That makes sure you have dimensional accuracy across the whole design. If I cut this design out, the problem with that is now I'm cutting inside parts, and if I happen to drag it a little bit here or there by accident, what will happen is the whole design is just garbage because now we're out of spec. By doing it this way, here, you end up with a nice precise design and a wonderful design in this case here. Now there's some dross on the front and the back, but that's easily removed with a wire wheel or even an orbital sander. It's really not an issue at all with this plasma cutter. So what are some limitations when it comes to plasma cutting or laser cutting or sort of any cutting of metal? Generally where it comes down to are the metal itself. In this design here, I thickened, here you can see the fishing rod. I thickened it because there's nothing here supporting it up here. If I had something supporting up here, I could go with something thinner here. But generally, a very, very thin metal just doesn't last very well. It's very easy to dent and sort of bend and that kind of stuff, even by hand. So what you want to generally have is a lot of support material. So like the boat here, as you can see, is supported by here, supports the fish, which supports this, supports that. Now, if I wanted to make it a little bit stronger, I'd add a support here, as mentioned earlier. I'd probably add another one over here. I have this grass maybe continue all the way here. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to supporting the material properly so that it lasts a lot longer. Some materials are stronger than others. Of course, if you go with a thicker material, strength is absolutely increased all the way across. So when it comes to making custom signs like this here, generally what I tell customers is just do a Google search to find something you sort of like. And right away that conveys to us what you sort of are looking for. And then from there we can help the design process, fabricate it, and ship it right to your door.